Yay, twins!
Yay! This is great. This is great. I was hoping,
I saw
but you just never know.
this morning that you were in the freshly finished Leelanaus.
That's right. It happened. We had a very elite group of guests this weekend in Michigan at our Galentine's retreat. And so they got the 1.0, the IRL unveiling of our twinning. Hell yeah. But Allyson, how do you know that that's your mug? I don't understand. Did you steal someone else's mug from the retreat? Because, oh, thank God. Well, important. Very important. So it was just extreme hoog. We called it Galentine's Day weekend, but it was extreme hoog. And we had a lot of knitting time available to us when we got there the night before. So I was able to finish this thing thanks to mostly to oh my gosh, I always forget the name of that show.
The Traitors!
The Traitors! The villains. I always want to say the villains.
I like the villains.
I like the villains too. But thanks to the Traitors on Peacock mostly. But yeah, it was so fun to it's great, but our tastes are just so aligned that people might think we're actual twins, just in different lighting. But you're in a beautiful antique rose.
Yes, it's a pinky coral
flavor. Yes, antique rose, and mine is definitely a rusty orange, and it's a little bit more evident in person. But we do look like twins, and I love it.
Yeah,
I do.
I love it. I love it too. Now, I did see that I was wearing this exact same sweater 2 weeks ago, the last time that we were live, and I said it's worth it. It is worth it.
I agree. This is crazy because I am getting the bounce of the sun off of the window across the alley. I cannot believe this has never happened once ever. So the something is aligned. So now I have this weird lighting thing, but we're just going to lean in because this will be gone in 2 seconds. But that is crazy.
I don't think the sun's been out until this moment.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was kind of a high stress day for me because I got an email last week saying, at some point today, we're going to come in and inspect your fire alarm. At some point. So just give us general permission to come in. And starting anywhere from 7 a.m. until the end of the day. And I was like, yes. But I've been anxious. I'm like, okay, I hope when I choose to take the shower is not when they come. So I got through that. And then I had a one-on-one and I was like, I guess I'll just close this door. And thank God I did, because that's when and I was like, I was really hoping they were going to come before the live because whatever. So they did come during my one-on-one.
Oh, good. And how is your fire alarm?
In tip-top shape. You know, I do not fuck around about fire safety.
No, you can't. Fire safety is number one.
Yeah.
Fire safety is number one. I have been speaking of fire safety, and then we'll circle back. I'm actively right at this moment, Laura, doing laundry. All right.
Good for you.
Dryer lint is a big cause of house fires.
Yes.
As everyone knows, right? So we got new neighbors who I don't think they don't know how to clean the lint out of the dryer. And Shane's solution, I was like, I'm just going to text him. And Shane was like, no, that's too much. Though Shane does say that he is, he was born in New York, but he is Midwestern at heart. So because he got label maker, he used his label maker at work and made a label that says, please clean the lint trap.
That's the old-timey version of sending a text message.
Yes.
Just extra passive aggressive, I guess.
Well, it's just like you can just send a text. Like,
you can. Yeah. It feels almost ruder. It feels almost ruder to get like a very pointed label. Because it's like process of elimination. The landlord's not in here putting that label on there, are they really?
But that's what Shane's thought was, that because she's sent messages about the lint trap before.
Oh, she has.
He's like,
okay.
Well, yes. because our upstairs neighbors before didn't clean the lint trap either. But so Grandpa Shane put the label maker tag on the lint trap, and I just went down there and it did not work. There is still just so much lint from the last time they did the laundry. And I'm like, Shane, you fucked this up so hard because now I have to just send a text. And now not only are we the people who are leaving weird notes on the dryer, but I also am just going to have to send a text about this. Like, you fucked this up, dude.
I feel like this is a pandemic because this is an epidemic because I'm editing. I have a very long, boring story about washer dryer installation in my apartment building that we don't care about. But the point is, new washers and dryers have been installed after years of promising. And these youths apparently don't know about the removable dryer lint. And PSA, when you don't use the screen and remove your dryer lint, because I do not think people know this or were taught this. When you don't remove that, then it gets down into the machine and into the duct of the dryer, and that's where the real fire hazard happens. So yeah. So the thing is, so we're getting some things and whatever, but we're getting some comments in the live chat about like, I can't believe people don't know that. I really feel, I mean, kids these days, but I really feel like they weren't taught that or encouraged to do their own laundry at any point in their lives. And so I don't think it's malicious. I think people literally don't know. My solution,
they don't know.
My solution is I think we need to make a TikTok. We need to make several TikToks and have this hack go viral, because I do not think I'm a 40-year-old woman renting an apartment building. Everyone's a youth, many youths, and they come and go, and they're in really ugly sneakers and really cute crop tops, but they don't know. They're trying their best out here.
Yeah.
I think we need to go viral. So that's
I think so too. We need a celebrity endorsement for dryer lint traps. Somebody that the kids like. Yeah,
it should be like trap music star talking about the dryer lint or something. I
don't know any of those.
We'll work on it. If you grew up going to the laundromat, maybe you don't. Maybe I don't know, but there is a gap. But if you're using a communal, just washer dryer, you got to clean that lint trap, people. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like they should have a life skills class in school that teaches you this shit.
Home economics. Yeah, that's almost like it's necessary.
Yeah. But just to be like, hey, here's how you use a debit card. Mm-hmm. Like, here's how you use the bank.
Truly. It's just a shame.
Here's how you wash your clothes. Yeah. Here's how you do your taxes.
I could really use how to do your taxes, to be honest. I give QuickBooks too much money. But that is just important to say out loud. So I appreciate you sharing. And I'm sorry for the downturn in your relationship with your neighbors now.
It was really hot. It got up, and now it's going to go right back down because Shane has to leave notes. Has to leave notes. It's a bummer.
That was a poor move. Guess you have to move to Portugal now. I guess it's time to go.
All right.
Time to go.
Sooner rather than later. Holy shit.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So Laura, circling back to your Leelanaus.
Yeah.
We got a little off topic, but
that's all right.
To dig into this neckline situation. So is this the second? Is this 2?
No. Nope, this is 1.0. So yeah, I just shared on Instagram today, the Knit Along is going until the end of March. So my folks in my work group were not moving at quite the same pace as I have because they're not knitting it for the 4th time like I am. So I'm very magnanimous.
It's your job to knit.
Oh yeah.
So and it's probably not their jobs to knit.
No, I know it's the dream, but no. So I just because I was so in love with this idea of twinning at the Galentine's Day retreat, I sneaky picked up stitches and did this neckline, but it's a little, you can see it's a little bit, my bind off's a little crooked. It's not quite evenly picked up because I was in a rush. And I really want a nice, full kind of puffy look that can be achieved by taking more time and picking up more stitches. So I was worried I was going to play a yarn chicken. I have plenty of this yarn, which is great. So I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to cut off my tubular bind off and just pull this out and start again so that I'm happier with it. And I have a whole month to do it. So I say, why not? But I did my previous Leelanaus, and the pattern is written, the neckline goes up to this point. So I started working back and forth sooner to bring down my neckline to here. And so this was all an experiment that I'm pretty happy with in the end. Had to get a little fancy with the numbers, and I shared the details of that in the work group, but then it did result in just like an extra shit to weave in that I absolutely haven't done. So that's where I'm at.
Well, from my perspective right here, Miss Laura, it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's that's why I felt like I can count this as a finished job. This is finished. But
so you deserve your own sticker.
I do. I feel this is earned. It's happening. I heart it, and it will look lovely on the. You can see I took her from her prominent place in the stack over here. Mm-hmm. But I feel that is a reasonable goal for me for the month of March to get the neckline to a place where I really like it, because it's the weather here in Chicago is frighteningly warm. I guess I will put this up until next October or something. And I want to. It is
supposed to snow next week, though, Laura. So don't put it too far.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We're going up. We're going down. We're going up. We're going down. It's going to be a wild ride. Perfect for the sinuses.
Perfect. Cool. I guess I'll just live by my humidifier. I don't even know. But I'm so happy because, as I have talked about in our porcelain class that we teach together and almost every other class that I talk about, I'm not a turtleneck gal. I really like when things hit me, when my collars hit me from this little point between my collarbones or lower. I feel like a very weak man is strangling me if the neckline goes any higher. So I was very pleased with this modification. Very pleased.
Yeah, it's great. It looks like we'll be seeing Stacy this weekend at Sweater Club for a little neckline help too. Love that. Can't wait. Yeah, can't wait for that.
My eye cut off the word sweater. And so I just read that she was bringing her Leelanaus to the club this weekend. And I was just like, okay, get it. She's taking it to the club. Get it, Stacey.
If you could find any trap music stars at the club so that we can make our dreams come true of teaching the youths how to clean a lint trap from the dryer. Yeah.
I am begging them for their help.
Out. Yes. Love that. Thanks, Stacey.
Thanks, Stacey. Yeah, we know you're on it, Stacey.
Yeah,
she's like,
she'll see what she can do. Yes, she loves it. She loves that. She loves it.
Incredible.
All right. Well, should we talk about our works in progresses?
Yes.
Laura? All right. Well, Laura, you got your Leelanaus off the needles mostly. We'll say that's a 99% off the needle situation.
Good enough for a sticker. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good enough for a sticker. Absolutely. What else you cooking up over there?
Well, I have my unpacked bag from the weekend just sitting here. So I've been moving right along on my Sunday sweater, Rowan Tweed Haze. I think that's the yarn. Shoot, I always say it wrong. Someone will correct me if that is incorrect.
Tweed Haze. I know it right up until the point where you say it.
Rowan, something Haze.
Tweed Haze. I think
it's a haze. It's a haze.
Yeah.
But
Linda says yes.
She loves it and she thumbs up. And yes, I love it too. We have talked about this Tuesday night at Yoke Along night. That this looks like nothing. on my camera here, it looks like a gray sweater, which it mostly is, but in person, this yarn has a really lovely speckle to it. Speaking of dryer lint, everyone, this is the dryer lint color, dryer lint, but make it fashion. And I am sticking to it. The length that the pattern wants me to go for is aggressive, but I'm really trying because I like that the waistband has a balloon sort of vibe to it. I like the sleeves have a balloon vibe to it. So I'm really trying to not short myself and achieve the vision. Kendra is asking if the actual colorway name is Dryerland, and unfortunately, Kendra, it is not. It is now, but I believe the colorway name is
Rowan. Yeah, Rowan's not. I think they just name things.
Too funny. Numbers. Yeah, it's numbers, but it's like number 5505, but I think it's something like Winter's Night or something, or like Winter Snowstorm, which is like, yeah, but Dryerland is more accurate. And the collar is in a different color that I bailed on, and just found myself ordering more of this Snowstorm color. So that is going great. And really, I got through a lot. I started at the weekend up here and got down here. And I really just saying that for myself because it feels like I've done nothing on this because I'm just in stockinette hell, but that's a lot. That's many inches.
Yeah. That's
damn it.
A lot.
Yeah. So it was fun to revisit Yoke Along. You know, I've got mittens to start casting on for Mitten Month next month.
Is that March? March Mitten Month?
March is Mitten Month. So that it's been fun to just have a little bit of a mindless. Yeah, it's March Mittenness. Nice, Maya. Very, very nice. So that, and I think I have one other. Yes, I have this is weak, but I'm counting it. Another FO from the weekend, my Zenner sock. This was my Whip It Out project for the month. I had it on the needles to here, and I just needed it's top down. And I just had it on the needles. This was a class sample, and I had it. This was all I had left to knit. And it was one of my project bags I really needed to look at. And it fits the prompt of finishing a sock for Stepanka's Super Sock KL. So I finished. This is my Whip It Out.
I love
and
that.
She finished. Sock. It's the color choices I go back and forth. I have gone back and forth the entire time I've knit them. But now that it's finished, I do love it. And it's worth a second sock.
I love it. It's like slime foot.
Right. It's very Ghostbusters. I think there's just a little bit of pink in this mystery yarn that I pulled from the scrap bin at the yarn shop that has no name. And I go back and forth on that. What I now know to probably be Cochineal is used in this yarn color. And sometimes I think it's cool, and sometimes I'm like, But in the end, Beetlejuice, I won't say it a third time, is the vibe. And this is the Zenner sock from the Moon and Turtle book. So that was another fun little thing.
I love that.
You have been thrilling us with your update with your Sorry Nordland sweaters, but you've also over the weekend have had some real color work going on. So I'm dying to know what your update is today.
Yes. So I finished the body of my Paul McCartney
Huge news. Wow. Huge news.
So here is the finished body. She's done. That's the V-neck.
I love how deep the V is.
She's a deep V.
It's gorgeous.
And then I've got my armhole steeks right there. So yeah. The only thing left to do is I think it's gonna be perfect.
Of course.
Nice length here. Nice deep V going on.
So good. And you've also major amounts of progress on that for Galentine's Day weekend. So that is to take a level of that complexity to a retreat weekend is bold, but you really to take a project of that complexity is very bold. But you've achieved it. It looks incredible. Damn. So when does the steeking happen?
Not until March 6th. March
Okay.
6th.
We'll hold on to our butts until then.
Time. Yeah. So this is going to go back in the bag. It can hang out there. Surprisingly, I do have other things that I need to be working on. So this is where this is going to live all tied up until I demonstrate steek panel reinforcement and cutting open steeks on March 6th. And I know that my fellow Paul McCartney Sweater knitters are happy that they have like 2 more weeks to work on theirs.
Yeah, because it's not their job to knit like it is ours, but that is a huge achievement nonetheless. Very beautiful. Yeah,
so I'm super pumped about that. That's going to be so good. Since I finished that, I have pulled out.
There it is.
My Colette pullover. I think I knit until about here before I put it away. And I put it away, Laura, you'll never guess. I was very worried that my sleeves were too small. But then guess what? I did. I blocked it.
And then what happened? I'm pretending.
Perfect. It's like I planned it.
Oh my God. Well, of course. There it is.
Yeah. So
there it is.
I killed it. And when you're worrying about something, that's exactly what you should do. You should just block it and see.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I did. I blocked it and I saw, and it fit perfectly. And I put it on and it looked beautiful. So this is a lot shorter than I was hoping. I feel like I've been working on this for a while.
I was going to say, did it feel like you had worked on it longer? That's a shame. That's a shame. And sadly, very relatable for a lot of us out there. So
yeah, holy crap. I was like, oh yeah, totally. I can finish up these sleeves this weekend. That's going to feel so good. But they're like 4 inches long.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Could be extreme 3/4.
It's got to be. It's that with the Surrey in it. That's just got to be a long sleeve sweater. At least 3/4 length sleeve. Yeah.
It does.
So yeah, that is what I'm going to be focused on for this weekend. I have a light class schedule for the weekend, and I have no man living in my house this weekend. So life is good. Bless you, Shane. He'll never watch this. A distance makes the heart grow fonder, whatever. I'm very excited to sit on my ass and watch whatever the hell I want to all weekend long. Yes, who will worry about the dryer lint being cleaned if Shane is gone? I just don't know, Elle.
The answer is the neighbors, because they're about to get a text from Allyson and they're going to straighten up and fly right. That's what's going to happen.
And I'm just happy to clean it. Also, it's
that is part of why I know about it, I think, because as a kid, I loved doing that. Yeah. So I would always, my mom would be like, I've saved it. And I'd be like, yay. So it is fun to do. Yeah. That's why I think it can go viral.
Yeah, right. Totally. You too can have this much fun doing laundry.
Yeah.
The script writes itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when they do like 3 or 4 loads of laundry and I go down there and the whole lint trap is like one solid like strip, I'm like, this is crazy. And then I, put it in, and then I put my own laundry in and go about my day. But some people can't do that. Yeah.
Oh dear. Everyone's on journeys.
But my goal is to have that sweater done because based on the survey that I sent out to everyone this week to ask what classes I should teach starting in May, Colette is high on that list of vote getters. So if I feel like I can really sell it, if I'm wearing that gorgeous sweater and it looks perfect and it fits perfectly. So that's my goal. So that class is going to come out, Lord knows, March 4 something, something like that. So that's my goal, to have that sweater done by then so I can have a beautiful picture and really sell. Yeah.
I feel like that's a perfect transition point to business, to what's going on in the party and general biz.
Except that I want to see your porcelain.
Oh yeah. Yes, you can. She's here in my Naruto bucket bag that I made on our sewing weekend. It's great. I'm very proud of this from Clone House. But I mean, it's not, there's only a little to see, but it's joined in the round and I'm on Sharpie. So it's going fine, but I love her. But you know,
that's so good.
I love her. I've determined how much, space I want between my patterns. I'm working on the leaf. Like this is the leaf row. So I got to this point, watching Ken Burns' Buffalo, and I then just had to immediately fall asleep on the couch at 9 p.m. last night. So that's as far as I got. Because it's so sad, and you just can't take it anymore. But yeah, here it is, and it looks really nice in the broad daylight, have to say, and I do love it. So this is moving right along. This is the chart that everyone complains the most about that I secretly like, but I just have to, it's the very long float row. So I got defeated by Ken Burns' American Buffalo, but I'm back at it this afternoon.
Well, there's more of it. There's more
of it to love. There's a part 2 that I'm told is a little bit more uplifting, I hope.
I mean, let's just temper the uplifting
talk.
I will say
maybe the Buffalo come back, but the Native Americans sure don't. So there we go.
Yeah, exactly. And the people who bring the Buffalo back really suck. Really suck. So that's bad too. But good. But it's good. Yeah.
It's like all Ken Burns, very well done. But Brooke and I just keep being like you said, some of these photos that were taken as like cool, interesting photos are just so upsetting. And all you could do is just look at each other and just be like, Jesus.
Wow.
So
yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Brutal. White people. Thumbs down. Yeah.
This week in particular, I was really excited to get home, get through our projects because in this bag here that I will get toward the end of this segment, I have been picking out yarn for our next knit along at LauraAllison.party. The heirloom cardigan knit along, and that's all the yarns are in there and will be wound this afternoon. I'm happy to do some show and tell there once we get to that segment, since that's technically your business, since you are running that knit along. But
that's true.
But I will be happy to show my plans. In the meantime, sorry?
I can't wait to see.
Yeah. It's, it will be shocking and overwhelming when everyone understands what my color palette is. They just won't believe it. But this week, truly one of the highlights of my life occurred where I got to go be a guest on a podcast, an actual audio podcast with my best friend, and talk about a piece of media that is among the most important things in my life. It's an important book, and it's a very important movie. Of course, I'm speaking about 1994's Little Women. And Allyson and I got to be a guest on the Christmas Movies Actually podcast, co-hosted by our very own Carrie Finnegan, party person Carrie Finnegan, and we're episode 105, I believe. And it was a blast, and we sound like we really know what we're talking about because we have seen that movie. I mean, I've seen that movie countless times.
Yeah, it is a 30-year-old movie, so you really do rack up the views.
You do.
Yeah, pretty easily.
But it's fun because now that so we knew this episode was coming out over the weekend, we chatted with a lot of folks at the retreat, and it turns out all people that are influenced by Little Women at that very special time in their lives, we all find each other in adulthood. And it certainly doesn't have that impact for everybody, but if you know, you know, as the saying goes. And as I started sharing that podcast in my Instagram stories, people from all different aspects of my life pop up to be like, oh, this movie, this book. And I was, or my daughter's reading it right now and I'm so excited. And I was just like, I'm so excited for her. And they're like, I am too, all these things. We all just find each other. And I love that about it. So on the party in our culture corner, we are doing an unofficial read along, like a read at your own pace, and share the version that you're reading with everybody. So which is really, it's great for so many reasons. Because once we did that podcast, we even talked about it on the podcast with Carrie, that we felt like it was time to pick this back up because I haven't read it in 20 years.
Years and years. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been meaning to, and this felt like the right time. And also, I had a goal at the beginning of the year that I wanted to read like 10 pages of a book, physical book every year. And boy, have I not stuck to that. And you know what's really great? When you pick up a book you loved as a child, those 10 pages fly. They fly. And you're not falling asleep on the couch. Sorry, Ken Burns, but I'm not. So
sorry, Ken.
Anyway.
So, Laura, you're trying to read 10 pages of a book every day?
Yeah, a physical book. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, which I'll talk about in our culture segment at the end. But it's the one thing that I really feel like with all my various interests, I think the one thing that I can't keep up with the way that I would like to because of all of the making that we do, that I love to do, the thing that has to give is physical book reading. I just really, it doesn't work. Yeah, it's hard to work it in. So I know if it's at night, that's instant bedtime. So I really enjoy the idea of like waking up and reading, because I know you got in that routine for a while. And you had said that in the morning you were reading through a book, and I felt like that was the most achievable idea for me. So this has really helped me.
I need to come clean, Laura. That was not me. I do not read in the morning.
Man, really? I thought when you were reading The Goldfinch, Donna Tartt, you were reading a Donna Tartt?
That was a million years ago. If I read that in the morning, I certainly don't remember it.
Okay. I don't know. It was something that you were really sticking to it, though, when you were reading that Donna Tartt book. I remembered that.
That was a slog. So I might have had to trick myself into doing that to get through that book. I did enjoy that book, but holy shit, that is a long book.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you had some strategy. You had some strategy to get through it. And I don't know, perhaps I'm misremembering the morning thing, or I just adapted it to my own needs, which is I can't read at night. I can't read at night.
I love it. Well, you instantly fall asleep. That is true.
Yeah.
And sometimes I lie to myself and I say, oh, you should go to bed early and read for a while. And then you go to bed early and then you fall asleep at 8:35. Yes. That's just what happens. Yes. For sure. But yeah, wherever you can sneak it in, I think is great. I have a reading goal myself, Laura, of reading 6 books this year because I read 5 books last year. I am already done with 1 book. And I am into 2 other books, and then I'm going to read Little Women with you.
Amazing.
So this feels very achievable.
It is. And it's really fun to do this with the group. The thing I really like about my version is that it's unabridged, but there are a lot of color. There's a lot of black and white drawings in it, but then there's like these color templates that are in here somewhere that I was obsessed with as a kid. That's a spoiler. We won't show that one. But look at what I freaking opened to. Barf City. Barfers.
Oh my God. Is that Amy's stupid bitch ass?
In a minute, a hand came down over the page so that she could not draw, and it's dirtbag. Ugh. But anyway. But what's nice about this version is that there's a lot of text on each page. So really 10 pages gets me like almost 3 chapters, which I like.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it moves right along. But yeah, she's substantial.
Yeah. That's a big book. It's bigger than I remember it being. My book is on my bedside table, ready to crack for March, because it will be the March knit along.
I have this version that was always in my grandma's house as decoration. She never once opened it and apparently got it at a thrift shop. And this book used to belong to Sarah Markison. shout out to Sarah, wherever you are.
Sarah.
But so this was always on like my grandma's decorative shelf. But
That looks
I was
like
like,
an original.
it does, right?
It
It's 1921.
It came through the Civil War as well.
Completely. And so then I just always wanted it someday. So now I have it. But I'm like, if I need it to be mobile, I take this bad boy. But at my house, this is what it is. So anyway, I was hashtag influenced at the retreat by Christy, who recommended us all the book seat. And it's a little like pillow that can hold your book open for you while you knit. And it's so silly, and I got it for myself. I did.
Did you?
Well, this is a crap ton of book, and but it is well loved, and so it does open pretty easily. But the fact that I could put it on my lap and work on that porcelain, I think that's the vibe. So that is one piece of party business that I'm particularly excited about.
Yes. So
and
if you want to relive this magic, and please, for the sake of Laura and I feel like we'll have a much better a chance of being asked back if the views are high. All right.
Yes.
So just let it play and walk out of the room.
Please,
because this is what we need for our lives. More platforms to shout at people what our opinions are.
Yes, our very correct opinions, which is why we're just going to jump over Erin's lovely comment on the live. We do love you, but we have very strong opinions about that version of Little Women that you can hear about on the podcast. So we got a good hour plus.
In next weekend, Erin, I'll tell you all about it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just chatted with Erin this morning about projects she can bring next weekend, and now I feel like she won't come. But Erin, it's okay. We'll go easy on you as long as you just spend your drive listening to that podcast. Okay. No. Anyway, it really, truly, I was an early adopter when it came to podcasts, and I've been listening to podcasts for decades. And to finally be a guest on one, it made me so happy. So shout out to Carrie and Colin for making a dream come true, and helping. Carrie, highlight of her year so far. She had to say that, but I appreciate. Yeah, it was a little late actually. I don't know where you've been this whole time, Carrie. But it also just really helped reignite a love for a really formative piece of work, and has helped me have so many great conversations with all of you about what Little Women has meant to you. So I'm having a great week. All because of you, Carrie. So thanks. Tickled.
Yeah, very excited to reread Little Women, because one of the things that we talk about in the podcast, and then we'll stop talking about this because I feel like that's a problem with podcasts, is you just keep talking about being on other podcasts, and then everybody is on each other's podcasts forever. For sure. But it'll be so interesting to read Little Women as an adult, because the viewing of the movies have changed so much since, you were 12. And so I can only imagine that we'll have a similar experience as adult women reading the book. That's one of the things that I'm very excited about.
Yes, very much agree. So that's been exciting, and it's been sort of accompanying me on making things, because I'm like starting my day with it and then on to my various projects. So it's fun that it's a little party thing. And the Culture Corner has been a great it's been really doing great lately, and we've been hearing lots of fun book recommendations and movie recommendations. So if you are not in the Culture Corner section of LauraAllison.party, it's not a premium space. You can just head on over to the left sidebar and join at any time. You're going to want to, because Allyson and I had a great talk on Wednesday about another really exciting upcoming activity that we will be doing over there. So now is a good time. Even if you're not reading Little Women along with us, there'll be lots of content over there, and you won't want to miss it. So that is some party business for all of you.
Yeah. Keep your eye out, because we're going to start a music league. It's going to be very, very fun. So keep your eye out for that over in Culture Corner.
Yes. Yes. So Allyson, you had mentioned that you'd had a ballot circulating for future classes. What's going on in your world?
Well, I have, Laura, we have a lot of travel coming up,
We do.
including spending like 10 days in Iceland.
Mhm.
And 10 days in Iceland is hard to plan group classes around. So I've got a small window of classes that I'm going to try to do in May between, well, our trip to Germany and
Right.
our trip to Iceland. I have 6 spots for classes and I had 9 ideas. So I sent out a survey. I posted a survey in the party. I sent it out to my newsletter subscribers to see what they were into. And I'm going to take the top 6 vote getters. And so far, I mean, like most surveys, not like wildly helpful, since you're all just very accommodating, very enthusiastic.
Anything you say. Yeah.
Exactly. Pretty much everything is getting the same amount of votes. So I'm gonna, design your own raglan is so far the winner, and inspired by the Leelanaus, because I designed this Leelanaus-ish,
Yeah. You
Leelanaus
can see
adjacent
very different fit.
sweater.
Very different fit. So there you go.
Yeah. As a top-down raglan sweater. And I thought it might be a fun jumping off point for if other people had ideas for doing a color work raglan, doing like different textures. I thought that might be fun. Design your own raglan class. And you're all excited about that with me, since that is the one that's getting the most votes. Sorry, Nordland too, that Colette pullover. That's why I'm trying to angle for that one to be done, because I feel like that too. People just weren't ready for it the first time I did it. That class is going to start in 2 weeks. So they're ready to maybe cast on in May. So those are the 2 biggest vote getters. Yeah, pretty exciting. Yeah.
Well, I think then we can talk a little bit about Heirloom Cardigan.
Heirloom cardigan. Yeah, exactly.
You start. I'm going to just get my bundle over here.
Get your things. Yeah. So we were talking about this 2 weeks ago when we first.
A lot of luck.
That's a lot of luck. I like it. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago when we first announced the knit along for March. But it is the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan by Catherine Seberg. She designed this really cute little cardigan with a bunch of little quilt blocks. Totally great stash buster. Very customizable. It feels like it's going to be super fun. A lot of people in the party have been digging through their stashes. So many of you have shared pictures of the yarns that you are going to be using after I shared the yarns that I'm going to be using. One of the things on my list is to take a break from the Colette sleeves. God, how will I ever?
Yeah.
And
thank you for your service.
And knit one of these quilt squares because I think that's going to be really fun and get people excited about it too. So Laura, it sounds like we have #influenced you to join us on this journey.
Oh yeah. At least with a bunch of quilt blocks. I'm definitely digging through stash. And I just have a lot of like 1 skeins of DK weight yarns that will just be like perfect for this. So it's somewhere in the mix with this, something along, it's basically just shades of blue and neutrals with a pop of chartreuse.
Is that a minty situation?
Well, this is a very special yarn from my best friend when she went to London. And I thought that all of this would look so great with all of this. And it's just, this is kind of
vibes.
Yeah, I love it. And then I have the beautiful Tommy Schaefer designed the Prairie Window sweater 4 years ago at this point, and we test knit that for them. But the test knit that I did was for a 4T bust, which is 2 inches ago for me. And I just really don't reach for that sweater. So I used some spin cycle in there in the yoke, and it had a lot left over, but the main color is a beautiful navy. So I thought I would really like my sleeves to be navy and like the royal blue kind of navy and 1 color, because we're all very inspired by Caro, who did her version and brought this to our attention. So my thought is I'd like my sleeves to be the same color. and my button band, and then I can just go real. I can go real coastal grandma with a little bit of spin cycle in my
Fun.
squares, and I think it's going to be so fun.
Yes. Oh, I
So
love
that's
it. Well,
the
I'm so
that's the
glad that
vibe.
that yarn that I got from you at Loop London, got for you at Loop London, could make its way into there. I think that's going to be so
I
pretty.
love it, and I just am worried that if it kicks
Yay.
around, it's just like I want to use it
Oh, you've got
because
to use it.
I've been having it hang up, and it just feels I don't want moths to get it. I want it to be special. So I want to start knitting with it right away. So this is all in the stack to be wound this afternoon. But yeah, this Bolin DK, I love her. And what better use for her than putting her in the heirloom cardigan? So that
I
is
know.
the
Oh, I
vibe.
love it. Oh, there's
Yeah.
nothing better than when you see someone using something that you bought for them.
Yes, it's so
That's
pleasing.
the
It's so
best.
pleasing.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like, I really want to figure out a good like DK project to feature both of these colors. And I was like, oh my God, it's the heirloom. It's time. So that I've been very excited about, and less excited about all the winding that needs to happen. So
Yeah.
yeah. But this is it's I
Part
really
of
want
it.
to knit I want to knit a block as well and have the options. I just want my options at the ready,
Yes.
you know?
Totally. Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, awesome. I can't wait to see more. That knit along is going to kick off the first week in March. I will be live on Tuesdays to chat about that. So keep your eye out.
Very exciting.
And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention, Laura, is I did a re-release of a bunch of knitting patterns for my vintage inspired baseball knits ebook that I put up in 2013.
Yes.
Knit Picks finally decided that they didn't want to sell that anymore. Fine. Knit Picks, fine. But I put it back up on Ravelry recently, and I'm going to try to share my screen because I think they're real cute. I was trying to find an actual one, and I couldn't find an actual book of this. But yeah, so here's my little ebook. It's got 6 patterns in it and one little freebie. Maybe this will click over. Yeah. So I've made a chart for the 16 original baseball teams that you can apply to any one of these patterns. I've got some cute little vintage inspired tops. I think this is very adorable. And Laura, I don't know if you have seen this before, but look at this little cutie who made this red trolley dodger and found this patch for this sweater. Isn't this just the cutest?
It's Mr. Red.
Right?
I love this collection and always have, and never felt like it got the traction that it should have. That Georgia Peach cardigan I've always loved with the little buttons.
Yeah.
Loved that. I think it was, the sample was hard for people. It's tough with sport colors because they're primary, they're loud. And with the sample being red and white, I think people read it as like Claus, Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It is the cutest. And I just love this whole collection. I was so happy to see it pop up on your Instagram again.
I know. I'm excited about it too. And if you too are into baseball knits, or those cool. The stories behind the sweaters are really cool. They are inspired by the sweaters that baseball players used to wear at the turn of the century. And yeah, so they're 25% off this week if you use coupon code
Baseball o'clock, I believe.
Baseball o'clock, yes. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
I was like, what was it? Yeah, baseball o'clock. You get 25% off. So if you want to get all of the patterns together on Ravelry, that takes $4 American off the price of that. So it's only $12
Basically free
for all 6 patterns. Basically free. So that is what I've been spending my time this week doing, just kind of looking at those patterns, changing some language, trying to work on size inclusivity because they're a little bit small because of the 11 years ago of it. But we're working on it. But I thought I'd get them out and then I can do an update later once I get all the numbers in a row.
Love it.
But
Just
yeah,
love it.
that's the last thing that I was working on this week.
Well, the only other business shout out I have for myself is this Friday, tomorrow, if you're watching us live, we have a level up series at Laura Allison Party where I'm going to talk all about Notion. Notion is a project management software. That's the easiest way to talk about it. I'm going to be talking about generally how I use it, but more specifically, ideas for how to use it for tracking projects. And dealing with all kinds of crafty solutions. And it will be not comprehensive, but a great place to start. So, oh, great. Ella's, pressure's on. Ella's making her sister sit down and watch this. But I know, similar to like baseball knitting patterns, project management software for your crafts, that's a niche part of our community. But for the people that need it, they need it. So
Badly.
Yeah, there are dozens of us, and I hope that you will join me. It will be recorded, but it will be so much more fun to have folks live and do Q&A. I believe Allyson will be in the chat. And yeah, happy to chat with all of you. So content, so much content.
This is what happens when we don't get to do this every week. We get so much shit backed up.
Yeah, it's true. But really, we did a sneaky culture corner. I sneaky culture cornered into our new business, but it's all the same. It's been it's very Little Women forward, and I just will never apologize for that. So that's
perfect.
That's important. That's important. But I am listening to an audiobook that I'm enjoying that I could definitely recommend, which is called You Never Forget Your First. And it is a biography of little-known American person, George Washington. I don't know if you're familiar.
He had a birthday recently, didn't he, Laura?
Yeah, he's a lesser-known historical figure. And it is funny how much his mythos is just like everywhere. I mean, like truly every other street I've driven by, I've noticed like everywhere, everything is Washington, everything, Washington, everywhere. And this is a book that I believe was published in a couple of years ago by the author. I think her name's Alexis Coe, and she's one of the few female biographers of George Washington. And she makes a really good point in the intro about that, when she talks about how there is this weird segregation among historians about like what men write about and what women should write about. And she talked about how writing this biography, they would be like, what's your subject? She'd be like, George Washington. They'd be like, oh, Martha Washington, his wife? And she'd be like, no, I'm writing about George Washington. They'd be like, oh, about his marriage? And she'd go, no, I'm writing about George Washington. They'd be like, about his secret inner passions and family dynamics. And she's like, I'm writing about George fucking Washington. And very, very interesting. And it's very well done and well researched, and I really am enjoying it so far. So if anybody wants to check to talk about George Washington with me and read through a really interesting audiobook, I highly recommend You Never Forget Your First. Very, very good.
Nice. And then the one thing that I wanted to bring up, though, Laura, we have already talked about this. But I saw that One Day was the #1 most watched things on Netflix. So for the first time ever, I feel like I watched something that is relevant to other people's interests.
You did it! Right! Damn it! I really failed by bringing up George Washington at the top, so I'm glad that you're bringing him back in. Bringing it back in.
This is what the kids are watching. One Day. So I just like what Netflix does. When you turn it on, is it starts playing something at you that it wants you to watch. And I got totally hoodwinked by these sexy kids looking sexy. And I was like, well, I want to watch a little limited series about sexy kids looking sexy and being sexy in the UK. I love that. It is a 14-part limited series. You find out at the end why it's limited. I did not know where this was going. And poor Laura picked me up to go to the retreat last Thursday, about 4 minutes after I finished the last moment of this, and I just needed to sit and cry in her car on the way to Trader Joe's because I was so crushed by the show. But Laura, you told me that it was a book and a movie starring Anne Hathaway in the early 2010s, which I did not know. I didn't know anything about it. I just pushed play for the sexy children, and I was just punched in the face by crippling sadness and emotions. I've taken some time with it, Laura. And I do believe that it is good. And that I liked it. I just was shocked. Too shocked.
Well, I had not thought of that Anne Hathaway version of the movie since I had seen it in 2011 or whatever. So it was like unlocking ancient knowledge as Allyson was describing the plot. And I would be like, wait, and then doesn't this happen? And then you were like, yes. And I was like, that I believe was an Anne Hathaway movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we looked it up. It totally was an Anne Hathaway movie.
And I was like, but it was not a hit, and for sadness reasons, I feel. And I really cannot sit here and recommend the movie. So I'm glad that on the whole, you give the thumbs up to the limited series. Sounds like it's more worthwhile.
Yeah, but if you're going in knowing that something happens, then I feel you'd be slightly more prepared for it.
Something emotional happens. Yes.
Something like happens. And I just thought I was in for a sexy fun romp. It's not a sexy fun romp. Well, it is a sexy fun romp, but then it takes a turn.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I think people are in
the chat. So
yeah. Well, I think I scared them. I scared them away with George Washington, so that's on me.
Always.
But yeah.
Always.
Yeah. To be clear, guys, no one's saying that he was awesome, but the book is good. The book is good. But yeah, it's very much crickets, but 14, that does not seem very limited to me. I was thinking
they're short. They're like 25 to 35 minutes.
Okay.
And each little episode is a different year. So it starts off when the characters met in like 88 or something, and then every episode is a little vignette of the same day.
Okay, that's cool.
Year.
That's cool. Yeah.
So structurally, it works out. I think it's smart.
I feel like people are a lot more into the limited edition series for melodrama, like with the Sally Rooney stuff, that normal people, all of that. People are willing to go there more so than in pictures and full-length feature films. So but also I'm sure you are not the only person that was bamboozled by the ending. So you're doing the Lord's work. If you've watched to this point, good for you. You get to save yourself. You get to save yourself.
Yeah, you get to save yourself. But give it a play, because I would like to chat with it. And it is very hot people being hot, which I always like in my limited Netflix series. When hot people hot around. There's
skip the Hathaway version. Go right to this one. Sounds like.
Go right to this one. Yeah. And perfect. We can save everything. But we're not going to be here in 1 week, Laura, because we will be at the garment sewing retreat with Christine Haynes. So we will be back in 2 weeks. Again, 2 weeks. I can't even imagine all of the chaos that will happen between now and then.
There'll be a lot to update. But I hope you all will have worked on some of this culture stuff so that we can catch up via Instagram DM. All right?
Yes. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Laura Allyson Live, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.